Hi, I'm back again, and hopefully today you're going to pick up some tips for any of you that are worried as your skin starts to get slightly older, that you're worried about where to place products, what products to place on the skin. As our skin matures, we also need to accustom the products that we're putting on, making sure we're getting the most out of the products. Sometimes we can apply too much product and it can emphasize fine lines on the skin, all of those things. Again and again, customers come to me and they ask, what's the ideal thing to use? And it can be very, very broad. I hate when makeup artists form rules when they say, when you reach a certain age, you should only do this, or you should only apply this product. I don't believe that that's the case. I believe you have to use your eyes and you have to work out what's the best thing for you. So I have the lovely Miri here today, and she has volunteered to be my model. And with Miri's skin, she has beautiful skin. Yes, she has like fine lines in different areas, as we all do, and so we all will have. We want to make sure that we create an even coverage. We want to take away the red sections, and we want to create an even texture and tone to the skin. Again, you need to make sure that the products that you're using are not going to be too heavy to do that. So first thing I want to do, I want to apply a primer on the skin. This has luminosity in it, but it's very, very light. It's not very metallic, but it has that beautiful glowy quality to it. So apply that all over the whole face. Again, you can apply this product with your fingertips. I tend to apply it with the microfiber brush just for speed. I get into the habit of using the microfiber brush quite a lot. I want to look underneath the bottom of the eyes. I want to lift and I want to brighten. I'm using Makeup Studio, their Under Eye Pen concealer. The reason I like this, it's packed full of silicone. So when you apply it onto the under eye area, it doesn't catch in those areas. So I'm using a very small, soft brush, and I'm going to put that right up underneath the bottom of the eyes to lift and to brighten. It really doesn't show up, so the product consistency isn't going to emphasize any fine lines that you'll find in that area. Next, for the complexion, I'm opting out of using an actual foundation. I'm going to use a CC cream. Now, there's lots of controversy over the BB and the CC creams, and even the DD creams that are coming out, and people are a little bit confused as to which product they should lift when they're going to choose one of those, if they're deciding to opt for something slightly less heavy on their skin. The BB stands for Blemish Balm, so it's something that should be very, very soft, although every makeup house will have a different formula, a different consistency, and you need to trial each one of those different products before you even attempt to buy it, because some of them are more like a foundation. The CC stands for colour correction, so it has the ability to try and neutralize without the heaviness of the coverage that a lot of foundations would provide. And with Miri skin, I'm deciding to use a CC cream. This is from Emberlice. The Emberlice BB and CC are probably, in my opinion, the best I've ever used. The BB is something I use personally on my skin because I don't like the look of makeup on my skin. I just want something that's going to maybe take a little bit of the redness away. So the BB, when I put it on, you cannot tell that there's actual product there. So it's very, very light. It's also really nice as well if you find that your skin texture is quite uneven. So maybe you've had problematic skin and you have acne scars, or maybe you're prone to larger pores. Sometimes I'll use the BB cream as a primer under the foundation, and that'll help to create almost like a more even tone and texture to the skin. It also helps really well for those who will come into me, for example, with a lot of redness in their skin, but they hate heavy foundations. The BB cream will help to neutralize the red, allowing me just to sporadically buff a little bit of foundation into different areas. The CC, on the other hand, is almost for the lady who does like foundation, but sometimes, in my opinion, the foundations themselves, with the way they rest on the skin, is almost too heavy on the skin, and I can see it too much. This tricks the eye into seeing a perfect coverage, but it feels and looks like you're wearing practically nothing. So the CC, it comes in one shade. Both BB and CC and the Emberlice come in one shade. The only person I don't particularly love the CC on is the really, really porcelain skin, because there is tone in it. The BB and CC both adapt to your skin tones. So with the microfiber brush, I'm going to use some of the CC cream here now on Miri and buff this in. And this is what I used. Mary's daughter got married recently, and this is what I decided to use. And you were quite reluctant to try and not use a foundation, but it lasted well, didn't it? Good. So it's really, really light. Again, it's got silicone property in it as well, which helps to smooth the skin so it doesn't catch. When you're using this brush as well, the microfiber brush, it really works it into the skin to make it sit flat. There's nothing going to highlight fine lines like a foundation that's sitting out from the skin and not being worked into the skin well enough. Next, I want to set the CC cream with some powder. Now, a lot of women reach an age where they're petrified of powders. They've maybe bought a powder, taken it home, put it on because they've read an article saying how good it is to use powder to set the foundation, put it on, and they've aged themselves 10 years. That's not what a good powder is going to do on your skin. And there's so much choice even with powders, even with the formulations that are out there. A lot of the more heavy talc-based products that's found in the cheaper powders will catch and sit and not be particularly flattering on the skin. There's a massive range of different powders that you can apply. I'm going to use some of the Makeup Atelier HD. This is a dust, so it's particularly brilliant for any of you that are very, very skeptical about using a powder on your makeup. So let's tap it on first of all to the skin. This will just help lock in our products that we've just applied. So using the flat of the brush, I'm applying that all over. Lovely. Now I want a little bit more silkiness and there's a little bit more redness I want to take away. So I'm going to use some of the Senna medium powder again. And with this particular powder, I want to work it into just different sections. So very, very lightly, just working it in. When you use small amounts of this powder, it'll just help to create an airbrushed effect on the skin again, just to set everything in place. Next, we're going to take some bronzer. Again, it needs to be matte so as not to bring too much shimmer or shine onto the skin. Load up your bronzer and tap off your excess. So I want to apply a little bit close to the hairline. Again, be very careful that you're not going to create a bronzed hairline. It's not very nice. Next, I want to use some blusher. I'm going to go for a nice coral. So I'm going to load up my brush and tap just on the apples. This is a matte blush as well. I'm staying away from shimmer blushes and working that just in the apple section. So next, what I want to do is I want to apply some eye primer onto Mary's eyelids. I like to apply this on my fingertips because I can feel the texture of the product, so I don't want to apply too much. Sometimes I find if I'm using an eye primer and I'm using a brush to apply it, I can't really feel how much I'm putting on to the skin. So if I do it with my fingers, then I can apply it in smaller quantities. Again, the least amount of product. So I've got concealer on one of my angle brushes and the brow powder on the other. Now looking at Mary's brows, again, we're following our steps where the eyebrow should start at either side and rise and everything else. If I was to take how far the hair comes down, it comes to about here. If I was to draw it up to the arch, there's almost too much space with no hair in it. So what do? Well, I take it up a little bit. So with my concealer, so to show you where I'm going to start the brow, I'm going to ignore that little bit of hair just there. And that allows me then to build my brow up to the arch more easily and with less of a slope and without making the brows look too rounded. I want to rise them up to the arch and let them fall again. So let's do that. So we're starting with our baseline again. So here, I want to bring it in a little bit closer. Blend that straight through to the arch. Nice and gently, nice and softly. After that, using the same colour, I'm going to do the other side as well. So look at it. Again, there's a little bit of brow here, a couple of hairs that I'm going to ignore. So don't let your brows dictate to you. See what the shape is. If you're not sure of the exact shape, go to somebody who will draw them in, photograph it on your iPhone or whatever phone you have, take a picture so you know exactly what you're aiming for, because sometimes it's very difficult to see your brows in a different shape. Sometimes you can't see the wood for the trees where they're concerned. So build the other side. Okay, so now our top line. Don't make them too thick. They're already a very, very fine line of brow hairs. So you don't want to turn around and make them too thick, too heavy. It's just gonna look really fake looking. And make sure you're using shades that complement your hair tone as well. Then I'm gonna take my number 2 concealer like I've done at the beginning, and we're gonna conceal that shape just to make it stand out a little bit more. Nice and gently take it through. Next, I'm going to start to apply some eyeshadow. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take some of the pale colour in this TO1 palette from Makeup Atelier, and I want to just set the concealer that we used underneath the brows with this really pale matte colour. Now, for a lot of women, they really struggle with knowing how to do their eyes, how to get used to a new shape, because sometimes the skin can drop a little bit in the socket line. All of those things can be really frustrating to know how to blend. Also, the texture of the lid itself can sometimes prove to be a problem. I'm going to use a little bit of shimmer effect. It's sometimes used as a highlight, it's sometimes used as a radiance product underneath the foundation. With my flat brush, I'm going to paint that. Just look at the floor from the mirror. That's brilliant. I'm going to do that all. I'm going to put that all over the lid. Then I'm going to use some gold loose highlighting powder as an eyeshadow. There's a small amount of shimmer in this product, but it's a very, very, very fine powder. So I'm putting that over that really, really lightly. Again, not too much of the product. Then to create some sculpt, Miri has the most beautiful, I love brow bones that come forward like this. It just makes it such a joy to blend, so easy to blend. I'm going to use this palette. As you can see, it's one of my favourites, it's well wore. It's the T22 from Makeup Atelier. All matte, all the most beautiful shades. I use them even if I'm smoking out a green look, a green eyeshadow, I'll use browns to smoke it out. So they come in from various different colours. I'm going to use the middle one first of all, this beautiful camel colour. And with that, I'm going to apply it through the socket line, nice and high. Blending that through. Then I'm going to take another matte, which is this beautiful chocolate brown. And let's blend a little bit of that just at the outer corners. Look straight ahead from me. Brilliant. Blending that. I'm blending this one right up here. So if you do find that you have slightly deeper set eyes, make sure your dark doesn't just rest in the socket line because it'll push the eye even further back. Make sure you can see it. When you're looking straight ahead, you still can see it just at the bottom of the bone as it starts to come forward. Can you see that? Just there. It needs to come not too high because then it's too exposed, but just here. The reason being, it makes it look like the socket has come more forward. It's not sitting as far back. Then for a little bit of drama, I'm going to take this dark burnt chocolate colour. And looks really again for me. And just take it on the outer corner on both sides. Next, I'm going to take some concealer pencil. Again, one of my favourite products. Look up at the ceiling for me, and you can really, really lift and brighten the redness in the inside of the eye. Completely can disappear when you're using this pencil. I'm going to take a small brush and the chocolate brown that we used just here on the top section of the eye. I'm going to take that and look up for me there. That's brilliant. And very gently blend that through the bottom. Next, some mascara. And look at the ground for me. Again, not too much, especially if you find that your eyelashes are not very long. You don't want to apply clumpy mascara. So make sure your mascara is a nice texture It's not going to run either. Eyeliner. Again, it's something that's sometimes frowned upon. Lots of makeup artists will tell you, oh, use soft pencil, sometimes I find it depends on the shape of the eye, whether you can use pencil or not. And I find sometimes the smudginess of it kind of makes the eye look a bit sort of unstructured. Whereas all I'm going to use this liner for, I'm not going to do flick liner, I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm going to go in really, really close to the root of the lashes and get it as close as I can, so you're almost joining all of the lashes together to create a fuller lash line. So look down for me. By the time I finish, you shouldn't really be able to tell that I've even put it on. But yet, the lash line should look that little bit fuller on one side. It does take time, it does take practice. Look straight for me. Can you see how this one looks that little bit fuller? On the lips, we're going to use a dark sort of plum, but I'm going to use it very, very lightly. It's called Funky from Makeup Studio. And then I'm going to use some durable, which is number 2 durable from Makeup Studio to complement it. Very lightly, I'm going to line the lip. Not with any great sort of force, just very, very soft line. I'm also going to fill the lip in with the lip liner as well, just to give an extra sort of layer of colour underneath. So if you do have any sort of fine lines around the lip line, take your brush with nothing on it and work it in the whole way around the exterior lip line. Now we're ready for the colour. So put in the colour, beautiful sort of plummy colour. I definitely think Mary's Face can cope with a colour on the lips. There's so many different variations, but I find, especially as you get older, a lot of the colour that you did have in your lip would start to drain, so you need to get that back on to give the skin that extra sort of bounce of life. If you find that you have any sort of dryness with your lips, this durable has a clear gloss on the other side. So I'm going to put the smallest amount of clear, more just in the centre of the lip, just in the middle of the lip. I find that there's enough blush even with that. I'm not going to put on any more blush, but what I am going to do is a little bit of fix spray just to set and to hold that into place. Just close for me. So that's makeup, I suppose, for those of you who are finding it difficult, where you're noticing that your skin is aging a little bit, where you're noticing that the products are not quite working the way they maybe did X amount of years ago. Some new ideas of new products that are coming out that are designed to make things that a little bit easier for you, and some hints and tips as to how not to give up on your eye shape, how to look at your eyes and work out how to place, still having that sophistication, that drama, but in a softer approach and knowing where to place everything. So, hope you enjoyed it, hope you subscribe below, and see you in the next tutorial.